Starting with Kilkenny, the Leinster champions, with Pat O'Neill back, recovered from a hip ailment which forced him to miss the semi-final with Galway, and an alteration in the inside forward line. James E. Brennan selected at number 15 in place of the luckless Adrian Ronan. And there's the quick check on the Cork team. 3 changes from the 15, the semi-final, as the All-Ireland hurling final gets underway. And straight away it's Bill Hennessy breaking a chance to apply some pressure. Good recovery work by Pat Buckley. Liam McCarthy tried to force it across towards DJ Carey, looking for the first score of the match. A beautiful shot from DJ Carey, was sailing over the crossbar. The perfect start, playing against the wind. Kilkenny hit the front. Well, now we'll have a chance to check the severity of the breeze here with Ger Cunningham pucking wind assisted. Cork making that switch anticipated on the 40. Tony O'Sullivan is now in there. And a switch with Tomás Mulcahy, who's playing left half forward. And I've noticed as well that Kevin Hennessy has gone top of the left and John Fitzgibbon has gone in to the full forward position. So Dickie Murphy still playing for the Rapparees, very much involved in the local championship down there in County Wexford, taking charge of his first final. He was on the line here 2 years ago. Well struck inside there by Shawnee McCarthy in towards Kevin Hennessy, flicked away well again. Nice break forward here by Pat Dwyer. Dennis Walsh out there attacking the ball, supported by Tomás Mulcahy. Shawnee McCarthy again looking to put his side on level terms. Lovely delivery sent over the bar to settle up this match. A point apiece, delighting the Cork fans up on Hill 16. So a very good start, Jimmy.
Yeah, very good point for Sean McCarthy, and that's just the kind of contrast in size we were talking about beforehand, Ger. Shawnee didn't even need to catch that ball, just struck it off the hurley, and it followed on a very good point also by DJ Carey. Well worked score for Kilkenny. So both teams just settling down now. I must say I'm surprised at Kevin Hennessy going left corner forward, but I'm sure they're hoping to exploit his height against the Kilkenny full backline, in particular Eddie O'Connor.
They've actually switched him again out to the 40 right now, and Pat O'Neill is not quite sure who he's supposed to be picking up. He's got in on Hennessy right now. Meanwhile, it's Liam Welsh. Indications of the very slippery conditions. A challenge there has been penalised by Dickie Murphy, falling across Liam Welsh. In this very heated atmosphere, he has his name taken for that rash challenge. So a point apiece. It's Tony O'Sullivan from the McClearshicks club shaping up to take this one, and this is 34th championship match. He fumbles it, has to hit it on the ground inside instead to Teddy McCarthy. Back it goes to Tony O'Sullivan, a low delivery inside. Now Kevin Hennessy, having wandered back into the inside forward line again, taking on Eddie O'Connor. 4 Kilkenny men around there. John Fitzgibbon whipping onto it. That's Ger Fitzgerald, showing a lot of industry. Cork players appealing that it's gone indeed for the game's first 65.
It's interesting, Ger, the Kilkenny backs are all over the place. That Pat O'Neill is now playing right half back, marking Tomás Mulcahy. And I often wonder in this situation, our team's better off to play as they originally intended, lining out and just getting on with the game.
Yes, you can often end up confusing yourself. So it's going to be Brian Corcoran with the elements in his favour. That's the wind. Very greasy ball, however. Underfoot conditions already very, very damp and heavy. Towards the left-hand side, or has it? It's gone over. Just inside that left-hand post, and the shot by Brian Corcoran from the game's first 65. So just to do a quick recap on where everybody is playing just now. Pat O'Neill is right half back at the moment on Tomás Mulcahy. And it would appear that Willie O'Connor is still left half back. Liam Welsh is the one who's gone in to pick up Tony O'Sullivan on the 40. Switches all around the place. Pat Buckley inside toward the Cork inside forward line. Well grabbed in there by Eddie O'Connor. But Glenn Morman has it batted down from Tomás Mulcahy. Back again to Eddie O'Connor. Tenacity itself, going by 2 Cork men with some difficulty. Inside, Michael Phelan fouled by Pat Buckley. And the linesman in straight away to indicate the position from which the free will have to be taken. Just about 5 minutes gone. Pat O'Neill, one of the 88 miners that defeated Cork in the final. Low enough trajectory inside towards Liam McCarthy, playing in his third final this afternoon. That's walloped out by Shawnee McCarthy. Out to Tony O'Sullivan. Now can he profit by this move into the 40? Delivering it long over the head of John Fitzgibbon. The goalkeeper reads it well. Michael Welch, high challenge. That's a high challenge there. Kevin Hennessy, I think, is the one who caught him. Murphy making sure that Michael Welch is okay. This is the challenge coming in, Jimmy.
Good goalkeeping by Michael Welch here. Just see Kevin lets it hurley a bit high there. Very high tackle and dangerous play. And the referee in quite quickly and got Michael Welch up on his feet. Dangerous play, and the referee just stopped the warning Kevin quite quickly. Very good goalkeeping by Michael Welch, though, quickly off his line and stop the danger.
Michael playing in his second championship season. Just in front of him, Pat Dwyer, who made his debut against Wexford back in 1989. Hitting it towards the left-hand side of the field, towards DJ Carey's wing. They'll be expecting a good contribution from DJ this afternoon. It's a big day for him. Here he is. And he got the opening point of the match. Chance on his left-hand side. Seems to be going towards the left. Just the first wide of the match. Kilkenny minus some great supporters this afternoon. One of them, Nan Brennan, the lady whom we always see down here by camera 3, as we call it, down where the Artane Boys band come out. I understand she's training hard at St Columbus Hospital in Kilkenny, wants to be here for the next match. And we wish Michael O'Hare as well, the doyen of commentators, and everybody in RTÉ Sport, wishing him well. Hope he's enjoying this match. Michael Foley and Mallow as well. Meanwhile, after the good wishes, it's back with the action. That's Michael Phelan going back very deep indeed. Shawnee McCarthy turning on his left-hand side, having an influential start to this match. Tapped down there by Fitzgibbon. Ger Fitzgerald challenged by Willie O'Connor. Still Willie O'Connor. Right on the end line. That's the foul there by Tony O'Sullivan on Willie O'Connor. Willie has been plagued by injuries really over the last number of years. You may remember the league final here against Wexford, and he lasted only about 2 minutes, I think, that day. Tony makes his way out, still marked by Liam Welch. Liam Simpson, appreciating that he needs a really big display this afternoon. Was on Pat Fox last year. Now John Parr, first chance to shine in this game. Dennis Walsh fails to cut it out. Liam Fennelly against Dennis Mulcahy. That'll be an interesting tussle. Morrissey here against Brian Corcoran. Again a good block down by Corcoran. Back to Morrissey. Again trying to go by Eamon Morrissey. Getting in well, persistence paying off. Cork grouping well at the back. Jim Cashman supported here by Shawnee O'Gorman, blocked out by Morrissey, comes out to Liam Fennelly and watched all the way by Ger Cunningham. Difficult enough save to make that one with DJ Carey coming in at the near post. Willie O'Connor flicking it back to Pat O'Neill, outside towards Bill Hennessy again for Kilkenny. Cork leading by 2 points to 1. But remember, playing with the aid of the wind in the first 35 minutes. That's Willie O'Connor up towards DJ Carey. Blocked down, however, by Cathal Casey. Bill Hennessy again now. Another good challenge in there by Shawnee McCarthy, but good follow-up by Liam McCarthy. Up to Eamon Morrissey, getting there a couple of yards ahead of Brian Corcoran. Blocked again, partially so by Corcoran. Boomed out by Dennis Walsh, and a long relieving clearance by the 19-year-old. So far it's been an excellent game. Full credit to both teams in very tricky conditions. Hennessy blocked down there by Eddie O'Connor. Runs on nicely for Tony O'Sullivan. Trying to go by Liam Welch, says Tony O'Sullivan. Eddie O'Connor striving to put in the challenge. That's the shot from O'Sullivan. Seems good. It's on its way and it's over the bar. The first point of the match for Tony O'Sullivan. A third for Cork. 2 points the margin. That's
a beautiful score by Tony O'Sullivan there, and Cork can thank Brian Corcoran for some tremendous defensive play there. 2 brilliant blockdowns on Eamon Morrissey, and Tony O'Sullivan gathers the ball here as a result of the clearance from Brian Corcoran, and lovely stick work and very difficult angle. Beautiful point by Tony O'Sullivan.
3 points from 3 attempts so far for Cork. Bill Hennessy, for Kilkenny side, who'll be hoping to be near enough to Cork at the half-time whistle, with the elements in their favour for the second half. John Parr now crossing the 45-metre line. Inside towards Fennelly, defended well by Mulcahy, but here's DJ Kerry, good shoulder, nicely on again, and Morrissey couldn't quite contain it, but it went off a Cork stick, and it's gone for another 65. But there was danger all over that move.
Well, Ger, great chance for Kilkenny there, and again, here Dennis Mulcahy actually fumbles the ball. Liam Fennelly comes in, is robbed by DJ Carey, who elects to hand pass. A brilliant tackle by Brian Corcoran, again puts him off his stride, and Eamon Morrissey can't control it, and Ger Cunningham is forced to knock it out for a 65. But again, Brian Corcoran very quick to get the challenge in and knock the player off his stride.
Yes, he's having a really good season so far, Brian Corcoran. Now Pat O'Neill to lob it in. That's Corcoran again, the aforementioned Erin's own man. Out to Pat Buckley. And Eddie O'Connor here, just watching it all the way, has the time and the composure. Almost had the freedom of Croke Park to swing it nicely into midfield. Batted down by Shirley McCarthy to his midfield partner at Buckley. Linking up well with the illegal hand pass. So it's going to be a free out for Kilkenny. And the rain teeming down here. The camera shot looking into the dugout. That's the Cork dugout. A busy man, Pat O'Neill. It's been given plenty of height. Dangerous ball inside. Corcoran again judging it well. He's starting very impressively. Out towards Pat Buckley. Cork doing better at midfield than many people anticipated they would. Tomas Mulcahy in low. And again, Pat Dwyer reading it well, getting out there, showing tenacity. Liam Welsh showing great flair and skill. Up towards Liam Fennelly. Flicked away, however. Corkman waiting for it. And it's Brian Corcoran again. He has hardly played a bad match, and my goodness, after he hit that one away, he lost control of the hurley, and the hurley ended up in the Hogan stand. He's got the hurley back. Liam Welsh has got the ball. Blocked down there by Pat O'Neill from the attempt by John Fitzgibbon. Runs on to Teddy McCarthy. The Corkman having to use the breeze in the first half, beating the challenger Willie O'Connor, but it's gone to the right. Cork's first wide, Kilkenny with one wide as well.
Again, it's significant. The rain seems to have taken the wind level down quite a bit, and it's not as strong as I thought it was earlier on. So whether it's blowing up or not again in a minute, we'll see.
The effort again. I just watched the hurley. Bye-bye hurley. Kilkenny with an injured man in their defence. That's Pat Dwyer. And Dr. Bill Cudahy in there. Dickie Murphy just attending to him as well. Michael Welch ready to puck the ball out. Happily, Pat Dwyer is back and able to take up his position at fullback, where the man he's marking is still John Fitzgibbon. Well done in the air that time by Michael Phelan. There's a Corkman waiting for it. Brian Corcoran, who else? Belted into space towards Ger Fitzgerald. It's Willie O'Connor over there against Teddy McCarthy. McCarthy, the Corkman, coming out with it. Hand pass to Ger Fitzgerald again. John Fitzgibbon fumbling. Good reaction there by Pat Dwyer, happily recovered. Michael Phelan here. Still trying to find his rhythm and his best form at midfield alongside Bill Hennessy. Early stages in the match, just 13 minutes gone in the first half. 3 points to 1 in favour of the Munster champions. DJ Carey here, one of those experiencing the difficulty holding full control of the hurley, taking too many steps. Very vigilant Dickie Murphy in there quickly. Ger Cunningham, I've noticed, has a towel in the goal area just to dry the hurley every time, to try and make sure the grip is as solid as possible.
And the players seem to find it hard to hold the hurley and strike the ball long way. They're slipping off the hurley quite a lot. It'll be interesting now to see how far Brian Corcoran, who's a magnificent striker of the ball, how far he can land this in around the Kilkenny goal mouth.
Travelling well on its way in towards John Fitzgibbon, clashing in there the stick of Pat Dwyer. Batted out neatly here by Liam Simpson. Oh dear, just a lapse in concentration. Really, the players on both sides deserving of our credit for the opening quarter hour here. In spite of dreadful conditions, they've turned in a very good opening quarter. Difficult for these fans as well, able to enjoy and savour the occasion. Very, very special atmosphere indeed when your county is here on All-Ireland final day. Referee whistling, wanting Cathal Casey to hit this one in just to the left of the post, and I've noticed I think it's Bill Hennessy there and Teddy McCarthy exchanging pleasantries, and the referee stepping in quickly just to warn them about that, while Cathal Casey moves back into his right half back position. Michael Walsh again making sure that the hurley is as dry as possible. Pucking into the wind now, remember. Dennis Walsh striving to contain it, but it's John Parr beaten by Shawnee McCarthy. Down it goes towards Tony O'Sullivan. His jersey is tugged and pulled by Liam Welch.
Just get the feeling here that the Cork half forward line, Teddy McCarthy, Tony O'Sullivan and Tomás Mulcahy are starting to get on top of the Kilkenny half back line, and that'll be very important because Cork would like to have a few more points on the board coming up to halfway through the first half, and this is an important free again now.
Well, certainly I'm sure they would appreciate that 2 would hardly be enough for the second half. That's the lead they have at the moment by 3 points to 1. So from his own 65-metre line, Brian Corcoran flighting this one in to the left. It's batted down and it very nearly crossed the goal line. And bemused Michael Welch was expecting Eddie O'Connor to tap it away, but Kevin Hennessy got there first, and it crawled along the edge of the goal line and stayed out somehow.
Here you again see Brian Corcoran didn't hit this one as well as the previous one he hit, and it flies off the hurley a small bit, just dropping wide, and Kevin Hennessy does very well here, never takes his eye off the ball and knocks it across the 21, and Michael Walsh is caught unawares, actually goes through his legs and across the 21. Liam Simpson, very good covering by the cornerback, knocks it out for a 65. Good play by Liam Simpson, always watching the ball and not giving away a goal there.
Some further practice then for Brian Corcoran, outstanding throughout this campaign. Today only playing a 5th championship match. Goes in, goes up the Cork sticks, and that's gone for a puck out for Kilkenny. Cork's 3rd wide.
Kilkenny full backline, in fairness, under a bit of pressure at the moment, and they're coping quite well with a lot of dangerous balls coming in around there. In particular, Pat Dwyer, full back, has started very solidly.
Again, the wind whips up quite a bit, and of course teams are that little bit fresher in the first half when they can face into the wind. Jim Cashman coming out with that. Pat Buckley towards Tomás Mulcahy, whipped in along the ground towards Ger Fitzgerald. Jim Simpson under some pressure, Tony O'Sullivan advancing. Pat Dwyer the one who notched that one out, only as far as Tomás Mulcahy again. Has the happy knack of getting goals in All-Ireland finals. He gets a point on this occasion. First for the Glen Rovers man. So 3 points between them, and 18 minutes gone in the first half.
That's exactly the type of score that Cork need from their half forward line. Tomás Mulcahy, as I said already, and Tony O'Sullivan, Teddy McCarthy are getting on top of their opponents, and they need to take all those chances with the breeze behind them. And first class score by Tomás there.
Cork making a switch in their inside forward line, back to the way they were selected originally. Kevin Hennessy now at full forward. John Fitzgibbon is on top of the left. Pat O'Neill thundering forward towards Eamon Morrissey. Can he be the decisive factor in this match yet? Sean O'Gorman watching it all the way, taking it around the attentions of Jamesy Shiner-Brennan, who has yet to impress in this game, has seen very little of the action. DJ Carey, always influential, tapping it nicely over the bar. Lovely controlled strike by DJ to get his 2nd point. Got that little bit of latitude, and now he pegs it back to a 2-point difference again.
Can't afford to give DJ Carey any room. It wasn't a great clearance by Sean O'Gorman, and DJ Carey, all these scores are very important against the wind. They'll give Kilkenny great breathing space that comes up as the nearer it gets to half time, and it further increases the pressure on Cork.
The puck out going into the half back line. Bill Hennessy back there to augment the trio. Out to Teddy McCarthy, and over the bar it sails. So everybody in Cork's half forward line has now scored in this first half. Teddy playing his 36th championship match today.
Ball knocked back in again, just like Tomás Mulcahy a while ago. Teddy McCarthy anticipating the ball back out of the defence, and as you say, Gerard, half forward to score from play, and that's very significant because scores from play win All Irelands, and if they can keep going that way, it'll be a great boost for Cork.
Very fine skill indeed as well, the way he hit that one, didn't have to take it into the hand, instinctively putting it over. Teddy's record is rather interesting indeed because of the 36 championship matches he's played. Today he plays his 18th hurling to match the 18 in football as well. So Cathal Casey has discarded that black helmet. Driven down towards Tony O'Sullivan, been well marshalled now by Liam Welch. Cross into the centre where there was some holding by Dennis Walsh on Liam McCarthy. Liam McCarthy playing for the Liam McCarthy Cup. So that's the 65-metre line. And DJ being told to withdraw just a little. Driven well, but to the left. Kilkenny's second wide, 3 wides for Cork as well.
That was a poor wide by DJ Carey, in particular, again, as we've been on about it before, with Ger Cunningham taking the puck out. It might have well have been a ball he could have kept in play and tried to put a bit of pressure on the Cork full back line, whereas now you have Ger Cunningham landing the ball right back down into the Kilkenny half back line.
Delivered well down, seemed to come off the stick of Michael Phelan that time in towards John Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon with a loose pair just ahead of him, Tony O'Sullivan couldn't quite get the hand pass inside, and it's Pat Dwyer very competently coming to his side's rescue. Cathal Casey nipping in, the wing back, wasn't hooked, and he's put it wide. So now the wides mounting up. Michael Welch here, he plays of course for Dixborough in Kilkenny City, Paddy Grace's old club, last year's intermediate hurling champions. Towards Bill Hennessy, marked by Dennis Walsh, down towards John Fitzgibbon. Well, after that explosive start in the opening 12 minutes or so, it's gone just a little bit stale in the last few minutes. Good blocking, however. Pat O'Neill, challenged by Pat Buckley all the way, this tenacity paying off for the Cork man, inside towards Tomás Mulcahy, finds the range, or does he? Just dropping a little bit short, scooped away, and it's gone for another 65 at third.
Yeah, here you see again Pat Buckley foraging well, and Cork are backing each other up well here. Good pass out to Tomás Mulcahy. I thought for a second it was going over the bar, but always an awkward ball for the goalkeeper with Kevin Hennessy coming in around him. Michael Welch doesn't hold on to it and knocks it out again for a 65. We've seen quite a bit of that already today. In the conditions, it's hard for the goalkeepers to hold on to the ball.
Not exactly the place you'd like to play, I can assure you. So Brian Corcoran coming up. Scorer of a point from a 65 already, his 5th point in the championship overall. He'll have to be content with that because he's missed another. Cork now with 5 wides. Brian Corcoran scored just 1 out of 3 attempts from frees so far. All kind of vantage points been taken up. The railway lines in the background there, and this Cork supporter balanced rather precariously just behind Michael Welch's goal. Johnny McCarthy again attacking the ball but missing it. Cathal Casey instead. Bill Hennessy trying to restrain him. Knocked in towards Kevin Hennessy, trying to get that ball into his hand, well marshalled by Pat Dwyer. Hennessy having to live off broken play, and Pat Dwyer hooked by John Fitzgibbon as he was about to make his clearance on towards Tony O'Sullivan. Challenged by Liam Welch. Delivered inside. Tomás Mulcahy had moved inside, so to Teddy McCarthy, and it's gone again off for Kilkenny back. So a 4th 65 for Cork.
He's a great pick up by Tony O'Sullivan here. Players are slipping and sliding all over the place, and again a high hopeful ball, not a great ball into the full forward line by Tony. And here you see Teddy McCarthy racing in the blind side, just tries to knock it away again, out for a 65.
Nicky Brennan there, the Kilkenny selector, along with Ollie Welch of course, and Pat Aylward. Barry Hickey there, the development officer. Under the teeming rain, you have to come outside the dugout really to get a good view of things. Right now watching Brian Corcoran attempt another and miss another 65. Oh, delighted Kilkenny people, appreciating that might well be the difference between the teams at the end of the day.
Well, they're all important here, and with just a 3-point lead, Cork, the mentors, will be very concerned that they've missed 2 65s in a row, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Cathal Casey gets a shot off the next one just to change it around a bit and take the pressure off Brian a bit.
Just 1 out of 4 65s converted so far. Challenged by Pat O'Neill, deemed unfair as Tomás Mulcahy was bursting his way through. Pat O'Neill is a very, very strong young man.
Again, Tony O'Sullivan trying this one, Jared. It's very difficult for free takers in the conditions because the hurley is wet and the ball is a damp ball, so it's inclined to slide off the hurley.
And the umpires considered it, but deemed it outside. Cork now with 7 wides. 25.5 minutes into the first half. Cork with a 3-point lead, 5 points to 2. Great roars of support now from both sets of supporters. Great traditional rivals down the years. Brilliant catch in midfield by Bill Hennessy. Best piece of fielding in the centre of the field we've seen so far. DJ Kerry trying to advance, stop by Cathal Casey. Dennis Mulcahy trying to take it out of that defensive area. A real little pile-up of bodies there. Bill Hennessy in the thick of it all. Likewise, DJ Carey, I think. Correction, DJ on the right, the man on the on the left-hand side here, player lying on the ground in need of attention. Might be Jamesy Brennan, indeed it is. So, Jamesy Brennan, who was the captain of the under-21 side, a very successful side 2 years ago. Back at the half-back line, they're still considering switches and changes.
I think Pat O'Neill has gone into his normal position of centre half-back. I think it was significant. Tomás Mulcahy was getting well on top of him, so Kilkenny have reverted back to their original line-out now in the half-back line.
So, the action continuing, and it's Teddy McCarthy trying to make his way forward, but he's been adjudged to have carried the ball too many steps. Very vexed Teddy McCarthy, having words there with Dickie Murphy, nonplussed by it all. Cork with 5 points out of 12 attempts so far. Kilkenny with 2 points out of 5. Cathal Casey batting it down, keeping a tight rein on DJ Carey, one of the real danger men for Kilkenny. Out it comes. Willie O'Connor, poor ball inside, easy one for Jim Cashman to take, gleefully accepted, cut out well by the man back there who's defending really well, Liam Simpson, out to Willie O'Connor, nice ball into space towards Liam Fennelly, missed by the fullback Mulcahy, and the referee seemed that Dennis Mulcahy was fouled as awarded the free out to Cork. It was looking dangerous for the Cork defence. Kilkenny were menacing, Mulcahy had missed it.
Fairness, a very good decision by Dickie Murphy, because he spotted that Eamon Morrissey had played the hurley of Dennis Mulcahy, which allowed the ball to run through, and he's been an excellent referee so far today, very good up at the play, and players know he's on top of his game.
Yes, he's a referee well respected, refereed the club final, the league final, and now the biggest one of all, the All-Ireland Hurling final. 7 minutes to go to half-time. 5 points for Cork, 2 points for Kilkenny. Liam Welsh now playing in his more accustomed position of right wing back. Tomás Mulcahy continues to be the player that he is due to mark, although at the moment it's Michael Phelan who's gone to pick up the Cork number 11. Shawnee McCarthy, caught right across the face of the goal, dangerous situation. Ger Fitzgerald beaten for it by Liam Simpson, flicked back in by Kevin Hennessy. And finally, with Willie O'Connor combining splendidly with Liam Simpson, way down the field it's sent. Stopped by Jim Cashman. Cut out here by DJ Carey against Cathal Casey. What a battle they're having. And the lines went across on the far side. Pat Horan from Offaly signalling that it's going to be a Kilkenny ball. Ted Carroll in the background there, in the centre, with a cap. County Secretary, of course. Pat Aylward on his right. Meanwhile, the Brollies are out here. Frank Murphy bringing the Cork umbrella for the Michael O'Brien there, with a kind of Alaska-type jacket on his shoulders. Nicely inside towards Jamesy Brennan, quiet so far, trying to thunder his way through. Ball's got lost and the referee signalled that it's a penalty, I think, for that dangerous challenge on Jamesy Brennan. And tempers flaring somewhat. Decision. The referee speaking with Dennis Walsh for that challenge there as Jamesy Brennan was going through. Brennan was on the ground. The ball was nowhere.
It'll be interesting to see this again, because the ball actually, Jamesy Brennan gathers it beautifully, races inside the defence and tries to go through. He actually falls and tries to hand pass the ball away here. Dennis Welsh tries to block it. Jamesy Brennan's trying to pick it up off the ground, and Dennis Welsh comes in, just pulls carelessly across Jamesy Brennan rather stupidly, and not sure what the referee is going to do. He's given a penalty.
Yes, it's a penalty, I think. A bit of impetuosity. So 3 on the goal line. Ger Cunningham coming out to talk to his defence, warning them about a possible rebound here. Brian Cunningham and Jim Cashman.
It'll be interesting to see what Kilkenny do, Ger. Will they go for a goal playing against the breeze? They're only 3 points down, and you'd wonder what they're going to do at this stage.
I think Ger was a bit concerned about the ball being perhaps too dry.
I think he was concerned that the ball might have been trying to drive the goal, Ger, a fresher ball.
Happened once or twice before, Jimmy.
I think it did.
All right. Well, this isn't the Munster final of several years ago. This is DJ Carey at a significant stage of the match, coming up to hit the penalty and score! 4 minutes before half-time. DJ Carey, a goal and 2 points. Kilkenny's only scorer. Delighted Kilkenny supporters. The game tied up, and Kilkenny with the wind at their backs for the second half.
You see DJ Carey again, beautiful striker of the ball, and drives it hard and low, and again, as I said already, ball hops to the ground before it gets to the defence, and that's always very difficult for a defence to see where it's going to go, especially when the ground is so wet and it slides off the ground. But again, if we can get a chance later on, I'd like to see that incident where the penalty was awarded again, whether Jamesy Brennan might have fouled the ball on the ground before it came to that.
There certainly was a possibility. Interesting decision also by DJ Carey to go for a goal, because many another player would have tapped it over the bar, I think.
Well, to be honest, Ger, I wasn't sure. You know, when it's always a lot of pressure on a young player, whether to put it over the bar and just keep 2 points behind. So, what a fantastic boost for Kilkenny coming up to half-time.
And Cork in this first half with 8 wides against 2 for Kilkenny. Telling statistics.
Interesting enough, DJ Carey, the only Kilkenny player to score, I think.
That's right. Tomás Mulcahy appreciating now that Cork, a giant-sized task on their hands. They're going to pull this one out of the bar. They have a chance, and Kevin Hennessy kicks, and he's put it over the bar. He's very disappointed with himself. He was going for a goal, no question about that. He'll have to settle with a point. Cork back in front again.
Great chance again, great work by Ger Fitzgerald, putting pressure on the defence. Kevin, what he's so good at, getting loose inside. And I just wonder why he didn't hit it with the hurley here. He seemed to have plenty of time. He elected to kick it from quite a long way out, just like Joe Rabbit did in the semi-final for Galway, and it went over the bar. And normally Kevin is deadly in that situation, shortens the hurley and buries it in the back of the net. I thought he might have taken in another 2 or 3 yards.
He's also usually a very good footballer. This is one sails in, met by Eddie O'Connor, comes out here towards Liam Welsh, challenged by Tomás Mulcahy, half blocked down. Corkmen waiting there for it in numbers. Pat Buckley against Liam McCarthy. Well deflected, but Cork get it back. Teddy McCarthy being moved across onto this left-hand side in spite of the number 10. Kevin Hennessy feeding it back inside. Low pick up there by John Fitzgibbon. Blackett comes to Pat O'Neill for Kilkenny. The Kilkenny centre half back, drilling it outside towards Bill Hennessy. Hennessy there challenged by Cathal Casey, with 1 minute and 25 seconds on my watch remaining in the first half. Well, an exciting first half overall. Some tremendous skills. But Bill Hennessy and company certainly will have DJ Carey to thank for that first half. The only scorer for Kilkenny, and keeping them very, very much in the hunt for their first McCarthy Cup for 9 years. But Cork will certainly have a response. It's going to make for a fascinating next 35 minutes. Bill Hennessy, met by Jim Cashman. Pat Buckley leaving this one there for Tomás Mulcahy. Bill Hennessy again getting back into position, challenged by Shawty McCarthy, picked up neatly by Tony O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan bottled up, held. Bill Hennessy says, what was I supposed to do?
Well, this is an important free note, Ger, because Cork have done well to get back and be a point ahead, and even another point at this stage could be very vital and give them, go in again 2 points up even at half time. That would be encouraging, having come back from giving away the penalty.
Brian Corcoran is back minding the house on this occasion, and it's Shawnee McCarthy. From this angle it looks good, and it's gone over the bar.
Great score by Sean McCarthy. He was under a lot of pressure there, and it's going to be a real test of Cork's character, and they'll need all those chances, and that really was a pressure score. First class point by Sean McCarthy.
2 points between them, 2 points for Shawnee McCarthy. And the Cork substitutes and mentors will be making their way towards the dryness of the dressing rooms very, very shortly. We're now in injury time. Bill Hennessy. Early shortened there by Teddy McCarthy to get in the hook. Down towards Ger Fitzgerald. Cork leading by 2 points in the 1992 All-Ireland Hurling final. Teddy McCarthy flicked across. Eddie O'Connor having difficulty, but supported well. Pat Dwyer getting the ball out, but the referee Dickie Murphy from Enniscorthy and Wexford blowing the final whistle of the first half. Just 2 points the margin, but the all-important goal coming from a hotly debated penalty 4 minutes before half-time. As Dennis Walsh had his name taken, the penalty converted by DJ Carey. Half-time score, Cork 7 points, Kilkenny 1 goal and 2. We await the arrival of Big Christie. Cork with 8 wides from that first 35 minutes against just 2 for Kilkenny. Cork with 50% success from their shooting, 7 points out of 14 attempts. Kilkenny likewise 3 points out of 6 attempts. And significantly, Liam Fenley, the only one other than DJ Carey to get a shot on the target. He's still to score, however, which is a worrying factor. So Ollie Welch making his way back into the dugout, taking up a comfortable position. Rain still easing its way down from the clouds as Dickie Murphy gets the second 35 minutes underway. So straight away Liam McCarthy being put back on the white helmet, watching Pat O'Neill with the wind now at his backs, delivering the long pass inside. Dennis Mulcahy there being restrained by Liam Fennelly, having received a knock on the side of the head as well.
It'll be interesting, Jared, as our panel were saying at half-time, to see when Christy Heffernan is introduced. I think Pete Finnerty is making the point that they're waiting probably a few minutes to give the crowd a lift, and I think that's probably good tactics, get the crowd behind them. And in these conditions, the play is going to suit them. High balls dropping around the square. They haven't been winning a lot of those balls, and Christy's certainly no better man in that situation to win the ball and lay it off to his forwards.
Yes, he's a terrific sub to be able to bring in. Liam Welch under pressure from Tomás Mulcahy. Fed in by John Fitzgibbon towards Kevin Hennessy. Still struggling to make the big impact he's capable of, and again he makes contact with the goalkeeper Michael Welch. Another high challenge to the head, and again referee not going in to issue any caution. It wasn't as serious a challenge by any manner of means as the one in the first half. So Pat Dwyer.
Gerald Kieran Barr was saying at time also the Cork full forward line simply have to get into the game. They must get on the ball. John Fitzgibbon and Ger Fitzgerald in particular. Kevin has been doing fairly well. They must get the ball in their hand and start taking on the Kilkenny full back line.
As the two men in the corner still struggling to make any kind of impact, as Bill Hennessy now has the freedom of the park to turn, strike it inside. Brian Corcoran defending admirably. He's missed those 65s, challenged highly there by Jamesy Brennan. Again the referee going in to take the name of Jamesy Shiner Brennan for that unfair challenge on Brian Corcoran. So now we have had, I think it's 3 players with their names taken.
I think Jamesy Brennan took one look at Brian Corcoran here and said he wasn't going to try and shoulder, just swung his hurley loosely at him, and nothing very dirty about it, just a careless pull, and referee getting in quite quickly.
Probing ball sent inside towards John Fitzgibbon again. Eddie O'Connor doing well, but Tomás Mulcahy bearing it in goal. Willie O'Connor stopping, and it's Ger Fitzgerald from the attempt, and it's in the side netting. Ger Fitzgerald fed the pass by Teddy McCarthy, but he couldn't turn it inside the cover of goalkeeper Michael Welch.
Well, what a boost this would have been for Cork just for the start of the second half. Tomás Mulcahy, which he's very good at racing onto the loose ball, he's blocked well by the defence. Teddy McCarthy knocks inside, and here you see Ger Fitzgerald, but again, that's great goalkeeping by Michael Walsh, very quick off his line.
Big Christie is in. Christie Heffernan coming in for his 28th championship appearance in place of Jamesy Brennan. Meanwhile, Shawnee McCarthy batting it down at the centre of the field. Well fed back by Michael Phelan to Pat O'Neill. A day for rolling up the sleeves and doing the simple things well by both teams. In towards Big Christie, being marked in there by Dennis Mulcahy. John Parr foraging, John Parr breaking through, and John Parr scoring! He went straight through the very porous Cork defence to put Kilkenny a goal in front after just about 3.5 minutes of the second half.
Well, this is just the impact Christy Heffernan makes. His very presence breaks up the play, and John Parr snaps it up, races at the Cork defence again, and here you see kicking the ball again like Kevin Hennessy in the first half, but this time it actually side kicks it, deflects off the side of his foot, wrong footing Ger Cunningham. What a boost for Kilkenny.
Yes, a huge injection of confidence now with the arrival of Christy Heffernan and the goal so early in the second half. So now what's going to be the Cork response? Likewise, can Kilkenny keep their collective noses in front? Down towards John Parr again, challenged strongly by Jim Cashman. Again it's Parr going in, fouled. Free to Kilkenny. Jim Cashman will be quite upset about that goal that John Parr scored, but the influence of Christy Heffernan so very, very evident early on.
Well, I think it's just his sheer presence here. The other defenders start immediately looking around you, and they were exactly the balls that Liam Fennelly couldn't win in front of Dennis Mulcahy.
So now DJ Carey with his first free of the second half, trying to find the range, admirably struck with great conviction. A goal and 3 points now for the player from Young Ireland's in Goran. From place balls, that's 2 out of 3. Very good average indeed. The battle at midfield. Pat Buckley struggling at this stage. Bill Hennessy. Well, they're playing with a fresh approach altogether in this second half, Kilkenny. There's a livelier bounce about their play.
There is indeed, and their midfielders also now getting on top. John Parr doing damage at centre forward, and I'm just wondering when will Pat Hartnett be introduced. Cork certainly need to bolster up the midfield and get that ball driving into their full forward line, and they're going to have to be demanding a huge effort from the full forward line. They need goals, I think, at this stage.
One would imagine that he would be the first in. That's cut in by Michael Phelan, just a little bit too vigorously. Kilkenny's first wide of the second half, only 3 in all. Ger Cunningham pucking into the wind, dropping near the 45-metre line, caught in there by Tomás Mulcahy, fouled by Liam Welch, free on the 45-metre line or thereabouts.
That's a great catch again by Tomás, and he really is playing his heart out there. Won a good free, and again a very important free again for Cork. If they can just keep hanging in there, it's a huge test of their character now, but they can hang in there, they could still do it. You know, there's a long way to go in this game.
So Shawnee McCarthy, who's taken over the free-taking duties from Brian Corcoran, again hitting on his left-hand side, and again finding the range quite superbly. That's 3 points now for Shawnee McCarthy. 8 points his tally in this year's championship, and as you see, there's just a point between the teams. 3 from 3 his figures in the game, 3 attempts to getting a score. Kilkenny's DJ Carey, shouldered by Jim Cashman. Again DJ, fleet-footed and sticking it over the bar. Expertly taken score, rallying his side now. So he's got 1-4 out of the tally of 2-4.
Well, he's a beautiful hurler, classic wing forward play here again, winning his own puck out, racing through the defence, and he's a beautiful hurler, lovely score from there.
Jimmy, I guess he has to be about the best in the country, or nearly the best hurler in the country in this year's championship. Well, he's been playing quite superbly.
A lot of people were wondering, can he be shut out of a game? You know, there was a few doubts about DJ, but he's such a class hurler, and can't beat him when he gets going very fast.
Here he is again, whipping it down inside the full back line. Saved well by Ger Cunningham, half blocked out. Shawnee O'Gorman responding well. Michael Phelan trying to win the race with Tony O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan nipping in there first, having difficulty in the greasy conditions, taking it up and passing it back towards Dennis Walsh. Wasn't expecting it. Instead it's Liam Fennelly advancing. He's made a good bit of ground, and Liam Fennelly has put the ball over the bar, and Liam Fennelly has finally got a score. His second attempt at getting a point finally produces the reward, and Kilkenny edge just a little bit ahead once again.
Here you see Tony O'Sullivan, most uncharacteristic for Tony, actually fumbles the ball. A loose hand pass back to Dennis Welch, who again fumbles it. Cork are just getting a bit ragged at the moment on. Liam Fennelly gathers it well, racing, I think does the right thing, knocks a simple point over to keep the pressure on Cork and keep the momentum going.
By our figures, Kilkenny have had 4 attacks in the second half and they've had 4 scores. Pat Buckley trying to take that ball up. But Kilkenny playing with renewed heart, and Liam Fennelly coming in with that unfair challenge, which the referee quite correctly penalises. And Dickie Murphy just appreciating that a quick chat to Liam Fennelly will do the trick. Cork get the free, and Shorty McCarthy watched by Father Michael O'Brien, Gerald McCarthy and the rest of the selectors. And it looks like Pat Hartnett will be in very shortly. His influence around midfield could be quite immense. Huge one inside, defended well, but Cork trying to get the shot in. Finally breaks out towards Willie O'Connor, pressurised there by Tony O'Sullivan, turns right back into the cover of Willie O'Connor again. Again it's Tony O'Sullivan in this terrific final. Picked up by DJ Carey. A long relieving ball by DJ Carey down towards Christy Heffernan. Heffernan against Dennis Mulcahy. Was there a bit of jersey tugging? The referee says play away. Mulcahy on towards Jim Cashman. Cashman has left the ball behind. It's gone back to Christy Heffernan again. The shot, and it's gone sailing over the bar. Christy Heffernan's first point since coming in the second half as a substitute. 4 points the difference. It's looking good for the Cats from Kilkenny.
But Cork really have to try something at this stage. Pat Hartnett will have to be introduced into the middle of the field to try and bolster up it. Cork are under fierce pressure in the middle of the field and in the half-back line now as well.
Michael Phelan's influence and Bill Hennessy around midfield, immense. Shawnee McCarthy still continuing to battle his heart out, but the pass really going nowhere, just as far as Bill Hennessy. Another probing ball inside. Morrissey put off his stride by the attention there of Brian Corcoran. Second wide of the second half for Kilkenny, 4 in all.
Kilkenny all over the field now, Jar, putting fierce pressure on the Cork players. A lot of blocking down today, and they're really hunting in packs. Their dander is up now, and they're going to be very hard to stop. Cork need to get a score badly.
Cork have now gone back into the half-forward formation that they were originally selected in. Tomas Mulcahy on the 40, Tony O'Sullivan on the left. That's caught superbly by Michael Phelan. What a great midfield player he's turned out to be this year. They always knew about his class, but he's really come on a ton during the past season.
Cork are going to have to try and bolster the midfield. I know I'm going on about it, but Cathal Casey or Pat Hartnett will have to be switched to the middle of the field to try and get some supply of ball into the forward line.
Well, Kilkenny, I'm sure, will have their plans to counter that as well, as Pat O'Neill flights this one in towards the left-hand side, and still held in somehow there by Liam Fennelly, caught by Ger Cunningham out to the middle again. Michael Phelan once again under the dropping ball. The rain has thankfully eased. The wind still supporting Kilkenny. Just a hint of sunshine about to make its appearance. And a real competitive All-Ireland hurling final, with Eamon Morrissey trying to make some room for himself. Hesitation there by Pat Buckley and by Dennis Welch, and the profit there gained by Liam McCarthy. But he might well turn out to be quite a profit yet down around Kilkenny, because he snapped up the chance. Hesitation by Cork, and you can't do that against players of the calibre of McCarthy. And Pat Hartnett is coming into the match as anticipated, with about 12 minutes gone in the second half. Pat Buckley, the one I think who is going to make way, or is it going to be Dennis Welch? Buckley is going across to left half back. Dennis Welch is the one they've taken off.
Well, Pat Hartnett has actually got the right half back. I think Cathal Casey midfield, and Pat is picking up DJ Carey, who has been a huge thorn in Cork's side this afternoon for the whole game.
So Hartnett against DJ Carey, that will be an interesting clash. Meanwhile, it's Teddy McCarthy there against Bill Hennessy. Shawnee McCarthy. Michael Phelan standing his ground. Jim Cashman with good ground hurling being illustrated by both teams. It's picked up here by Cathal Casey, raiding now across the 45-metre line, turning back again, trying to make a pass secure inside for Kevin Hennessy, looking for support, battled down brilliantly by some excellent tenacious defending by Pat Dwyer, but about as far as Cathal Casey, and he's put it over the bar. The defending may have been good by Pat Dwyer and co, but the clearance wasn't a good one, and Cathal Casey sticks it over the bar, a point that keeps Cork very much in touch.
Well, Cathal Casey did the right thing there. Kevin Hennessy had a chance just before that, and maybe he should have just knocked the ball over the bar. Cork just need to get a score to try and get settled in their team again. They have a new formation now and try and build up a bit of momentum.
Shawnee McCarthy, as Jim Cashman takes the ball out of the Cork half backline. Kilkenny responding really well, however. The sunshine, the very welcome sunshine now everywhere in Croke Park, shining particularly from the Cats from Kilkenny, leading by 4 points, giving a tremendous display. Cork will have to battle every step of the way if they're to have a chance of notching up another McCarthy Cup success. This is Pat Hartnett, first chance to impress against the other number 18, Christy Heffernan. In steps Brian Corcoran, dodging round Kilkenny men, delivering the pass left-sided inside towards Cathal Casey, battling there with Michael Phelan. Tremendous tussle being exhibited by both teams. The decision goes with Kilkenny. Correct decision, I think. But two teams certainly giving their all at the end of a long campaign. 2-7 for Kilkenny, 9 points for Cork. That's 13 points to 9. Some holding. Christy, I think, the guilty party on Dennis Mulcahy.
Again, just a minute ago there, some tremendous defending by Brian Corcoran, and you'd wondered if he wasn't playing as well as he is today, that Cork full backline would be in dire straits. He really has covered off, and for such a young player, it's a marvellous performance by him.
And Kilkenny making a change, a positional switch, but Cork bringing in, it looks like Ger Manley who's coming in, a forward or half forward, and Gerald McCarthy coming in just to have a word there with the player who may well be making his way off, but Ger Manley is in, and Ger Fitzgerald, the Cork captain, who didn't impress, is on his way off.
Well, Ger Cork need to try something. I'm sorry for Ger, who just didn't have one of those great games today, and he's been a great servant of Cork hurling, and I'm sure he'll be back again.
Well, the great servants of Kilkenny hurling right now are certainly doing the business, but pressurised by Tony O'Sullivan and the Cork men. Greasy conditions. Tomas Mulcahy trying to get his way in, fouled, injured on the ground indeed. And it's going to be a free in for Cork from the 20-metre line, and a chance to put just 3 points between the teams, and plenty of time thankfully remaining. It's the kind of match you would wish to see an awful lot more of. Really good skills exhibited by both teams in a really good battle. So Tony O'Sullivan taps it over. That's 2 points in the contest for Tony.
That's much better play from Cork in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and certainly the switch of Cathal Casey to midfield and the introduction of Pat Hartnett has tightened things up quite a lot, and if they can just keep it going now, they're well back in the game, and who knows what could happen.
So the view inside the Cork dugout as Michael Welch pucks this one down. The sun into the eyes of the Cork defence as well. Also the breeze into their faces. Cathal Casey now at midfield. Don't forget, Pat Hartnett right half back, Pat Buckley left half back, and a restructured half back line to cope with the threat, the twin threat really, of DJ Carey and Liam McCarthy. The protest from Bill Hennessy. And sadly the Cork captain Ger Fitzgerald, who as Jimmy said had one of those days. Just behind him Mark Foley, and you wonder whether they would gamble with bringing in the very tall half forward. It's going to be Cathal Casey, very versatile player, take this sideline cut. Hit sweetly in towards Teddy McCarthy, got there just ahead of Pat O'Neill of Kilkenny, steadying himself to hit the shot in, and watched all the way by Michael Welch, needing to get the clearance in now. Ger Manley breathing down his neck. That's well won by Shawnee McCarthy there against Bill Hennessy. Mention of Hennessy, it's Kevin Hennessy beaten by Pat Dwyer, and Pat Dwyer has had a very good All-Ireland hurling final. Down to John Parr, the goal scorer in the second half for Kilkenny. That's out over the sideline. They're playing away, but the linesman has flagged. Pat Horan of Offaly here on this near side, and judging that the ball had gone out over the sideline, so it's going to be a Cork ball. On my watch, nearly 18 minutes gone in the second half. Here's Sean O'Gorman. fetched by Shawnee McCarthy, who's worked very hard at midfield. Liam Simpson coming out, very committed full-back play, and Liam Welsh then belting it downfield again towards Christy Heffernan, making more and more of an impact. Well, it's stopped by Dennis Mulcahy, trying to get it across there towards John Power, intercepted by Jim Cashman. Cashman lobbing it to the centre of the field. Bill Hennessy now winning so much ball in there along with Michael Phelan. Going towards the left-hand side, and it's tailed away. Kilkenny's third wide of the second half, 5 in all. Cork with just 1 wide in the second half to add to the 8 they had in the first.
Kilkenny obviously not happy with the contribution of Eamon Morrissey either, Jerry. He hasn't scored yet in the game and was being outplayed by Brian Corcoran, so they're now trying him at right half forward, and they'll be hoping he can get a couple of scores.
Well, he got just 2 points in last year's final, and you felt that if Kilkenny were to win, he would have to make a big contribution, and it's Tony O'Sullivan who's making the contribution for Cork with his 3rd point.
Cork certainly aren't going to die down, and great score there by Tony O'Sullivan, what he's become so good at over the years, coming across the half forward line from a very difficult angle, just picking Cork back that bit closer again.
But when you've got a Cork versus Kilkenny final, it usually goes right down to the final whistle.
Well, that's it, Gerard. Cork looked down now about 5 or 6 minutes ago, but a couple of very handy points has brought them right back into it, and Jim Cashman is also making a greater impact now at centre back.
So the game's swinging around interestingly. Pat O'Neill injured as he hit that one away. A foul there by Tomás Mulcahy on the head of Pat O'Neill. Michael Phelan, by the way, has now been moved in onto the 40. Watch this challenge again by Tomás Mulcahy. Nothing particularly dangerous.
Comes in, tries to block the ball. Don't think there was anything intentional there at all, but maybe the high and the referee felt it was dangerous play. Certainly no intention to hit the player or anything like that there.
No, absolutely not. Just a kind of awkward clash. So in the Kilkenny bench, they'll be concerned, of course, about their centre half back Pat O'Neill, who missed a lot of the action. Well, the referee has taken the name of Tomás Mulcahy, and that's a little baffling because certainly there was a contact foul, but it certainly didn't look intentional. Nothing dangerous about that challenge. Michael Phelan back on his feet, as we say, seems to have been moved into the 40.
Again, now there's a pressure free here for DJ Carey. Kilkenny have lost a bit of whatever they had going for them a while ago when they were hurling so well and taking their points rather easily. Now the pressure's on DJ Carey to get them back to just a goal lead again.
Yes, they're trying to regain that momentum. And DJ being told to take the free. His attention is still being given to Pat O'Neill, and this floats in well, and it could have gone anywhere, and it's stopped at the end by Ger Cunningham. Out into the centre of the field again, DJ under it there with Cathal Casey. Casey wins this one. Not quite sure if it was a pass or just flicked away by Michael Phelan. Up towards Tomás Mulcahy, a player loose inside him. Now Tomás Mulcahy, remember 2 points between the teams, on to Tony O'Sullivan, and he's put the ball wide. They're gone in to protest about it. Tony was certain it was a point, and the umpire has a whole group of Cork men going in there to try and influence his decision. Kevin Hennessy incensed by it all.
Well, Cork an extra man here. Tomás Mulcahy just releases the ball. Tony O'Sullivan normally deadly, and to be perfectly honest about it, I thought it had just gone wide. But the angle isn't great here, but I must say, I just thought it was shot off his hurley just the side of the post.
Well, the umpire at least was behind the goal. He had a good view of it. Pat Hartnett beaten for it by DJ Carey. Fumbled in there by Pat Buckley, and it's the other number 8 Phelan who takes it inside towards Liam McCarthy. It's gone! Denied a point at the other end, and the very next attack produces a Kilkenny goal with 22 minutes gone in the second half.
Well, here you see it, Pat Buckley. The ball should really have been cleared by Pat Buckley. Fumbles it, falls loose to Michael Phelan, who mishits the ball, I think, in fairness. Breaks back to Liam McCarthy. Beautiful shot off the ground. Fantastic goal by Liam McCarthy. Took it absolutely brilliantly. But again, you know, it was a ball that Cork defence might well have cleared, and they've fumbled quite a lot of those today.
Adrian Ronan has come in to the half-forward line to replace Eamon Morrissey, who didn't make a marked contribution by any manner of means this afternoon. Didn't get a shot on target at any stage. So now Pat O'Neill, the bandaged hero at the centre of Kilkenny's half-back line, down towards Liam Fennelly, switched in there to top of the left, watched all the time by Shawnee O'Gorman. The challenge there coming in from Pat Hartnett, batted down by Pat Buckley. Now Ronan, a chance to make an impression and show the selectors that they were wrong to omit him in the first place. The shoulder coming in from Corcoran, deemed to be a fair one. John Power advancing, hitting this one in, and he's put it wide.
Brilliant tackle again there by Brian Corcoran. Just the right thing when the opponent has possession. Hit him with your shoulder perfectly legitimately and knocks him off his stride and puts the pressure back on the player with the ball.
And Mark Foley has just been introduced by Cork. Well, it's the gamble that I'm sure they felt they had to take, and Pat Buckley seems to be the one who's been withdrawn. Shawnee McCarthy in a restructured Cork team has gone back to left half back. Buckley's off, Foley's in. There's 5 points between the teams, and on my watch just about 11 minutes to go. Looking good for Kilkenny following that goal by Liam McCarthy. So Mark Foley, who scored those great 2 goals and 7 points against Tipperary in the Munster final of 1990. Sometimes you wonder if it was the best thing that could have happened to him at that particular stage in his career, because he was always going to be judged by that particular scoreline. It hasn't worked out all that well for him in the last 2 years. Referee nipping in now to have a quick word with both Teddy McCarthy and Bill Hennessy and warn them about various kinds of monkey play. 2 teams, 2 players well fired up. The prize, the biggest one on offer in hurling. A chance to bring the Liam McCarthy back to north side or to lee side. Mark Foley is in at centre half forward on Pat O'Neill. Cork with 11 points in all out of 21 attempts, and Kilkenny with 10 points effectively out of 17 attempts, but that of course translated into those 3 goals and 7 points. Picked up here by Willie O'Connor, partially blocked, comes out however to the vigilant Pat O'Neill, playing his heart out. Long ball down as far as Liam McCarthy again, blocked by Brian Corcoran. That's lovely skill. Persistence by Liam McCarthy just to try and get in a counter block, almost works. Liam Fennelly fetching it back inside towards Phelan, opening up those broad shoulders, and it sails over the crossbar. There's silence on the hill where the Cork people are, but all around the ground the Kilkenny fans saluting that latest score for Kilkenny, the first by Michael Phelan.
Yeah, good play again here by Liam McCarthy. Keeps blocking down this game today. It's been absolutely unbelievable. Liam Fennelly gathers the ball well, spots Michael Phelan loose inside, and a very good point by the midfielder. Great score for Kilkenny again.
Christy Heffernan back on the 40. Meanwhile, it's Teddy McCarthy raiding inside the half-back line of Kilkenny and dropping this one over the bar. The second point for Teddy. But 5 points between the teams. Time ebbing away from a Cork point of view. Just about 9 minutes, a little under 9 minutes to go. So are Kilkenny to bridge a 9-year gap. Beaten in the final of 1987 by Galway. Beaten again, of course, last year. So seeking to make amends. Have they got the greater hunger? The incentive great for both teams. Dennis Mulcahy. Clashes, hard, ferocious at times. And that's Brian Corcoran. From a tight situation up towards Teddy McCarthy, runs into Mark Foley. Well, they need a big display from Foley and from another substitute here, Ger Manley. They've shown their full hand at this stage, having introduced their 3 second-half subs, but it's Pat O'Neill who continues to defy them time and again. Towards Phelan. They have the look of a winning team. And Michael Phelan has dropped it over the bar. And this lady here from Kilkenny, I'm sure has waited, like so many of the Kilkenny fans, an inordinate length of time to see the cup finally go back towards Northside.
Well,
but there's still minutes to go.
Inspiration play again by Pat O'Neill, who has certainly been a hero for Kilkenny at centre half back today. Spotted the loose man, and Michael Phelan, who's not really full forward, gets another fantastic score.
Here's Christie now on the 40. Scorer of 2 goals and 3 points, remember, against Cork in the 1982 final. Now 10 years on, looking to add to the medal tally. Liam McCarthy. A much happier looking Kilkenny forward line in the second half. They allowed Cork back in at one stage, back to within 1 or 2 points. But it's Pat O'Neill again, standing defiantly there at centre half back, playing a terrific match. Out it comes to Michael Phelan, trying to gain something, but surrounded by red shirts from Cork.
Jared, the amount of times the ball has been fumbled in the Cork defence has been amazing. They've given away quite a lot of scores at that. But of course, that's as a result, I suppose, of the pressure Kilkenny forward line are putting on them as well. You must give them credit for that.
It's been a very good display by the Kilkenny forward line. Brian Corcoran now left half back. Switches all about the place. These young Kilkenny fans hoping that the next 6.5 minutes tick away as fast as possible. They want to invade the pitch, but the Corkmen will make them fight right to the very end. That's the nature of Cork hurling, it always has been. Bill Hennessy now, turning on his left-hand side. And Christie ambling across, nobody picked him up. Keeping the ball in play, chance to set up a scoring chance. Cork back there in numbers once again. Pat Hartnett whipping it into the centre, but it's met by John Parr. Stumbles, but there's players calling for it outside him. Adrian Ronan was free. Parr going on his own, and Adrian Ronan exchanging a glance at John Parr to say, well, why didn't you give it to me? I could have taken a score.
I think he should have, Jared. The game is never all over, and when you spot a loose man outside, you think you should give it to him, and Adrian Ronan would probably have scored, and John was under pressure himself.
Well, Cork led by 2 points, wind assisted at half time. It's now Kilkenny who lead by 6. John Parr watching that one drop over his head. His wing-back colleague Liam Welch was well positioned. Now Mark Foley seemed in 2 minds originally as he was orchestrating that attack. John Fitzgibbon didn't score at all so far. Tony O'Sullivan got those 3 points. But several of the Cork forwards had a very disappointing day. In towards Kevin Hennessy with 1 point to his credit off the goalkeeper. It might have been destined for the side netting in any case, but Michael Welch wasn't to know that.
I think, Jared, it's dire straits for Cork at this stage, and they desperately need a goal. Jim Cashman will try and drop this one in around the square, and hopefully Kevin Hennessy or John Fitzgibbon can get a touch onto it and try and get a scrape another goal in the last couple of minutes, but it really is desperation stakes.
Judge for yourself here, I thought this was headed for the side netting, but Michael Welch wasn't going to take the chance. In towards Kevin Hennessy again, Mark Foley in there, battling with Pat O'Neill inevitably, and Willie O'Connor watches it picked up by Ger Manley across the face of the goal to John Fitzgibbon, out towards Liam Welch here. Welch taking the ball out of danger. They need a long clearance, into the centre it goes, towards DJ Carey, met by Pat Hart and whipped back in again. 2 Kilkenny men go for the one ball down towards Ger Manley. Manley ready, Cork needing a goal. Manley the goal scorer. A mistake by 2 of the Kilkenny backs going for the same ball, and that allows Manley and Cork back into the match with just about 4 minutes still to go.
Jared, just as I said, Cork desperately needed a goal, and they're right back in it. Brilliant pull on the ball by Pat Hart, who beat DJ Carey to the pull, and again loose play inside around the square. Ger Manley gathers it well, takes on the defence, and just as we saw here, kicks the ball again. The roof of the net. What a boost for Cork at this stage. They're still trying to draw this game. If Cork can hold their heads, they're right back in the game.
3-9 to 112, 18 points to 15. DJ Carey needing a score just to push them that little bit further ahead, and he misses, and it's an 8 wide, 6 in all in the second half for Kilkenny. Tension now everywhere. Well, just when you thought that Kilkenny were already ready to rehearse the Rose of Moon coin, Cork come crashing back. It's not over yet. There hasn't been a draw in the All-Ireland Series in the final since 1959, a long time ago. John Parr back there to deny. Tomas Mulcahy, pulsating stuff. John Parr brilliantly out of defence. Way down towards Michael Phelan, stopped in there by Shawnee McCarthy. Across towards Adrian Ronan, battling the whole time with Brian Corcoran. Ronan tried to deny Corcoran space, it succeeds. In comes Michael Phelan. Kilkenny wanting to hold on now to their 3-point advantage and lift their first McCarthy Cup for 9 years. That looks good, it's excellent, and Ronan has put it over the bar.
Well, Kilkenny can certainly thank John Paul for that score. He went back and won an absolutely brilliant ball from Tomas Mulcahy, and a fantastic insurance score from Adrian Ronan right on the touchline.
Yes, the climax of a most enjoyable All-Ireland hurling final. A game which started in drizzly, miserable conditions. Now at least it's dry. John Fitzgibbon holding on for dear life. needing support. Manley's nearby, so too however Pat Dwyer, part of a very, very effective Kilkenny defence. But the pressure applied once again by Ger Manley in towards John Fitzgibbon, who's got absolutely nothing out of Eddie O'Connor this afternoon. Cut out here by Brian Corcoran, pushed up to left half back to exert an even bigger influence in the attack. Stopped back there by Pat Dwyer. Liam Welsh lifting the siege. 2 minutes to go. 4 points between them. Kilkenny living on their nerves. Cork still in there with a little bit of hope, but it's just a flicker of hope really. Kilkenny with the free, 45 metres out. The free conceded by Shawnee McCarthy. Certainly has given 100% to Cork's cause.
Yeah, Joe, what a fantastic game, and Cork might have looked down note at one stage, but they've certainly shown great heart and great commitment to come back to be even in the game still with a chance at this stage. But you've got to American Kenny, they've held their heads just when they look like they might let a big lead slip, and again very hard free here for DJ Carey. This will be a great one to score, I'm sure, give Kilkenny a great boost.
Just for a minute there he looked to his left where Adrian Rowland was free, and now I think he just wants to use a couple of seconds very sensibly. Opted to take the shot inside, and Ger Cunningham has difficulty taking it, but again secure goalkeeper by Ger, playing in his 42nd championship match.
Great save by Ger. That was a very difficult ball flying at him at a dangerous level, and he did very well once again.
Inside the final minute, the whistling is from the Kilkenny Amateur Whistling Association here en masse. Ball has been touched on the ground there. Free quickly taken, stopped there by Eddie O'Connor, but Tony O'Sullivan. Cork needing the goal to stay in the hunt. Mark Foley, the shot from Michael Welch. Great goalkeeping. He takes it out over the end line. It's going to be another 65. And a terrific save under great pressure.
Brilliant save by Michael Walsh, who has played a fantastic game all day. And you know, if Cork got a goal at that stage again, there was just a point in it, and who knows what's going to happen. Brilliant save under pressure. He has played excellently all day.
Well, not a 65, as you see, a free out instead for that foul. John Parr watching. Liam Fennelly, will he be stepping up to receive the new McCarthy Cup in a couple of minutes' time? Drafted by a Kilkenny man, named after a famed Cork man. Some of Cork's senior players in attack this afternoon really weren't able to do the business. The Kilkenny backs proved well. Their forwards have taken their chances. We're in injury time. Kilkenny lead by 4 points. Cork again looking for a late score. But it's Willie O'Connor who drops it out of defence, down towards Liam Fennelly, runs on towards Christy Heffernan, the big Glen Moore man, looking about him, needing a secure pass, didn't get it, it's all over! And Kilkenny won the 1992 All-Ireland Hurling Final. Ollie Welch and Ted Carroll celebrate. John Parr, one of the goal scorers in the second half, along with Liam McCarthy and DJ Carey from the penalty. I'm sure that everybody in Kilkenny, and indeed Kilkenny people all over the globe watching this, will enjoy this momentous triumph, a first victory since 1983, and Cork people will be the first to acknowledge their excellence. They win by 4 points. Final score, Kilkenny 3 goals and 10 points, Cork 1 goal and 12.